The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello everyone, welcome into Marc Madness Sports here on KSUN TV and 103.5 The Sun Community Radio in Sun Prairie on this Tuesday evening, June 13th, 2023. I'm the host, Mark Karstens, joined by my guest, Audrey Seefeld of the Sun Prairie East Cardinals track and field team. And Audrey, how are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, excited to have you join my program and talk to you about Sun Prairie East Cardinals track and field. And I guess I want to start with, how would you say your team did overall in this 2023 season? As one school for the first year, with it being Sun Prairie East Cardinals and then Sun Prairie West Wolves.
Yeah, I'd say overall we had a pretty good season. Going into the season, I was a little bit nervous with the split because I had no idea what it was going to look like. Like, we had a lot of the same coaches, but going from a huge team of like 230 down to 115 was a big change, but it went well. The seniors, we only had a couple senior girls, so a lot of juniors stepped up and the seniors led very well, and it was a smooth transition from a lot of people we had last year to this year.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And you said, so it kind of went from, you said like almost 200 to now 115, you said, but with the split? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a big, drastic change, isn't that?
Yeah, but it allows for a lot more like coaching time and for you to get to know each other better, so you know more people on the team as well.
No, thank you for sharing. And how would you say you did individually in track and field in 2023? I know, Audrey, two of your main events are hurdles and long jump, I know, are two of your bigger events.
Yes.
And how would you say you kind of did, and maybe even just in those two particular events?
I had a really good season this year. I PR'd in a lot of my events, which was really exciting for me. I also did pole vault, which I PR'd this year. Last year I didn't get to, but this year I did. I did get some ankle injuries. I'm very prone to ankle injuries, so that cut my long jump season a little short, but it's okay.
Well, I'm hoping that your ankle injury situation is getting better, you're feeling better health-wise. And but yeah, I guess what skills would you say translate from hurdles to long jump? Because I know probably there's some different skills in each. Obviously, you're using different leg muscles, different, areas of your body, obviously. Balance is probably important in both, I'm sure. Yes. And obviously quickness, and then the ability to jump, obviously.
Right. I'd say everything in track is correlated. You have to have the speed and the strength and the stability, but yeah, different events have different specialties. Like long jump, obviously you want to get up a little bit more, and hurdles, it's like going down the track a little bit more, but both, you have to be strong, you have to be really stable, especially in hurdles, because you don't want to fly everywhere, and have a really good speed.
And Audrey, is there any other events in track and field that you've kind of been involved with too, like some of the running events, or do you do some of the sprinting and things like that too? Yeah,
so I do hurdles, 100-meter hurdles and 300s, do long jump, and then depending on the meet, do some sprinting events. They like to put me in the 4x2 relay, which I love doing, and I do a couple other relays sometimes. And another big event I do is pole vault as well.
Well, thank you for sharing. And how long have you been in track and field, Audrey? And kind of when was it something that you feel like maybe would be something you might do for a while, like high school and college, and maybe college and maybe beyond that, even further?
I've known pretty much my whole life because my dad's a head track coach at Waterloo, which is like 15 miles away. It's a smaller school, but he's the head coach there, so I grew up going to watch some of his meets and practicing with some of the high schoolers when I was little, which was always fun and cool. So I always knew it was something I wanted to do.
No, thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing. No, that's awesome. And Waterloo, Audrey, is that about a community of, I would guess, like 3,000 to 4,000 people? Is it about, or?
I think so. Yeah, it's a pretty small town.
Yeah, I thought it was around that size, but kind of, I guess, well, with college, I guess I kind of want to touch on college a little bit. Have you thought about where you're going to college yet, and kind of, are there any college plans you're maybe thinking about, or colleges specifically that you're really interested in?
I've given some thoughts, nothing's for sure yet. Thinking maybe like UW-La Crosse or UW-Madison or Minnesota. I want to go to more of like a mid-sized to bigger college, but haven't decided for sure which one I want to go to.
There's a lot of choices out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of colleges to choose from, especially in Wisconsin. You have Illinois, Iowa, that are close by, and Michigan. So, there's just a lot of schools in the Midwest to choose from.
Yes.
But what benefits, Audrey, would you say you've gotten from being a multi-sport athlete? I know you also do cross country in the fall, and then you do gymnastics in the winter as well.
Yes, I feel like being a multi-sport athlete is just incredible. You learn so many things, and everything just like connects. You build your confidence. You're working all year round to improve your skills. So you're constantly just getting in shape. You're strong, you're fast. I just love doing it. Yeah, there's a great thing being a multi-sport athlete.
And Audrey, I know in your short interview with Madison.com, Wisconsin State Journal, you touched on cross country. I know a big thing that you felt translated from cross country to track and field was endurance. Would you like to touch a little bit more on that kind of?
Sure. Yeah, so this was my first year doing cross country. I used to do volleyball, but decided to make the change to cross country. Going in, not really sure how it was going to go, but it ended up going really well. And I feel like I had a lot of PRs this year, and I feel like cross country definitely helped a lot with that. Like my endurance got so much better, and my hard work just paid off this year.
No, thank you for sharing. And then, Audrey, with gymnastics, I'm assuming kind of more what's probably helped you from that is footwork, probably a huge part of it, because footwork is just so important in gymnastics. And then obviously balance, agility are probably two other key things that you can use from gymnastics that probably are still very important in track and field as well.
And like gymnastics, I learned body awareness a lot, which felt like has helped me a lot with hurdles, like knowing where it is, and pole vault, because you're flying through the air, so you want to know where you are. And gymnastics has built a lot of confidence in me, because it's terrifying to do, so can go out there and do anything.
Well, yeah, thank you for sharing. And in what ways do you feel like the Sun Prairie community can continue to support track and field, and then just other sports in Sun Prairie, obviously, not just track and field, but you've been in cross-country gymnastics and then other sports too, like basketball, baseball, softball, football. Yeah,
just keep coming out and watching the student athletes doing what they do best and talking to them about it, because they love doing what they do. So.
And Audrey, the concessions too at each event.
Yes.
If you buy concessions, it does help the team, right?
Yes.
So.
Concessions at every game you go, just get a little snack quick.
It helps the team out by grabbing a snack, and there's always good concessions too at each event site. I know, at least for basketball for Sun Prairie West, they started doing Chick-fil-A.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but I don't know if they do that for other events as well, but I know for basketball for sure they were doing that. I think some football games they were doing that too. So.
Okay, it's probably a big hit, I would guess.
Yeah, it seemed like it was pretty popular from what I could tell, but. I guess if you could touch on describing your relationship with your coach, Doug Moggen.
Yeah.
What it's been like being coached by him and your relationship with him.
He's an incredible coach. I love being around him. He just builds great athletes, great leaders, and great people overall. And he has this confidence that he instills in the people he's around, and he loves talking. Just such a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And I know a few of your teammates in track and field, Cortez LeGrant Jr. and Jerry Kaminsky, who just graduated this year. They're both seniors, so moving on to new things. Jerry, he's moving on to football at the University of North Dakota, and he's also going to academically go there as well. And then Cortez LeGrant Jr., I know he told me he's going to Minnesota for business is going to be like kind of what he's thinking his major is going to be. And then he's going to walk onto the football team there at Minnesota. But for both of them, obviously they have great athleticism and skills that I'm sure they're able to use from football, because they're both tremendous football players, and use that in track and field. And I know from what I've seen, it seems like they've been pretty successful also in track and field this year on top of what they were able to do in football.
Very much so. They both made it to state, Cortez individually, and then both were part of their 4x1 team that qualified for finals too, state.
So congrats to Jerry and Cortez on that. They might watch this program, so
Maybe.
Congratulations to them on those accomplishments. And for Cortez, I know he has just phenomenal speed. I think I read he ran a 4.32 40-yard dash or something like that. I could be wrong, if it might have even been faster than that, but I know it was somewhere in that ballpark. I guess with that speed, kind of, does that help him with events, probably in particular like the 100 and 200 meter running events, I would think really would benefit his speed for Cortez?
Very much so. Like 100-meter dash, the people who are good at it, it's genetics and hard work, and he's just one of the people who has pure speed, so he goes out there and does his thing and runs really fast.
And I could see Jerry being really good at some of the throwing events. Like I could see him being good at like pole vault or javelin or kind of discus, those sorts of events. I could see Jerry doing well with those sorts of events.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was kind of more the events he did, or if he was more in running events as well.
He was more of a sprinter as well, and did long jump as well. Because sprinters are usually pretty good at long jump, because long jump, you run fast and you'll jump far.
And I think what a lot of people don't realize about Jerry on the football field, or maybe kind of forget about, is he's a really good runner. Like, he's fast too.
Yes.
He has good speed as well. I think that's maybe sometimes goes a little underrated, because I mean, he has like 4.4 speed, Jerry, in the 40-yard dash. So he's very fast.
He's quick too, yeah.
So yeah, I think sometimes on the football field, people just think about his throwing ability, which obviously is very good, and obviously he has that. But I think sometimes people forget about his athleticism and his running ability. I think is maybe sometimes a little bit forgotten, just because of the other skills that he has with football.
Yes.
But I guess I want to ask you about practices a little bit. How long are practices typically for track and field, and how many times do you usually meet per week? Do you usually meet the 5 days a week, like Monday through Friday, or?
Yeah, we meet Monday through Friday. Practices were a little bit shorter this year because we ended school at 3:45. So practices would start at 4:05 and usually end 6:15, sometimes a little bit earlier, depending on the events you do. So, because it was important to our coaches for athletes to be able to get home, see their family, eat dinner, go home, and stuff like that.
So most practices were about like 2-3 hours roughly, or?
About 2 hours.
About 2 hours? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's good to know. I guess I want to ask you about bonding with your teammates. What things do you like to do to bond with your teammates in track and field, and maybe what memories will you remember most, maybe even from 2023, and just maybe your career so far at Sun Prairie?
I'd say the biggest thing is Culver's. Everybody always goes to Culver's after a meet. It gets kind of crazy. The line sometimes goes out the door, but then you just walk around and it's just Sun Prairie track and field athletes all over, and people just talking and eating good food, and that's always a fun time. We had a couple like dinners this year, nothing official, but like got groups of people together and just would eat and hang out, and that was a lot of fun. State is a big bonding experience, and I feel like I get pretty close to the people there because you're staying in dorms together for 2 days straight, and you just get to know each other really well after that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And Culver's, I think just in Sun Prairie for sporting events in general, it's like a tradition, especially on Fridays. I feel like Fridays for football, a lot of people just go there as a tradition for eating.
Yeah, pretty much every sport, I feel like. Even if you just go to watch or if you play, everybody just goes to Culver's afterwards and catches up with each other.
No, which is a great thing. So I guess I want to touch on weight training and lifting. Kind of what is that like maybe in season versus off season? And I would think you probably want to do a little bit lighter with it in season versus off season. I mean, I know traditionally, I played baseball for a little bit, and off season, definitely I would want to do more weight training than I would in season.
Yeah, so summer is a big chance for me to get back into weights and lifting heavy, because especially during track, I don't lift very heavy because you don't want your muscles to be sore, because that affects your performance. I took strength and conditioning at school, but I would just lift light because don't want to get sore for practice. But yeah, summer is my big chance to get stronger and get faster and work on my endurance.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And what was the experience like going to lacrosse? Because I know you were able to go to lacrosse for state, and I know Cortez and Jerry were there as well. A couple teammates of yours that were there. I don't know who else made it from your team. Was there anybody else, or was it just the three of you?
Yeah, so I made it for pole vault, 100-meter hurdles. Alexa made it in the 300-meter hurdles, and then was a part of the girls' 4x4 team. And then for boys, there was 2 pole vaulters and a thrower, and then Cortez in the 1-2, and the boys 4x1. So we had a decent amount of people.
So you had a pretty good amount of people that were at state this year. Well, congratulations to your whole team. That's fantastic that you had so many people,
Yes.
Sun Prairie East Cardinal members at the state meet in lacrosse. So that was a 2-day event. I know, Friday, June 2nd, and then Saturday, June 3rd, excuse me. So June 2nd and June 3rd of this year.
Yes.
And how did you do individually at state, and what events did you compete in?
So Friday, I competed in the 100-meter hurdles. Went pretty good. Ran close to I ran my usual time, so that was good. And then Saturday morning, I did pole vault, and I placed 5th. So I made it on the podium, got my medal. That was really exciting. That was a really good jump day for me.
Well, congratulations on getting 5th in that pole vault
Thank
there.
you.
And getting did you get a medal then
I
as well?
I did.
Well, congratulations on getting the medal and being on the podium, and
Thank you.
yeah, being able to go to state. I mean, just congratulations to you and your team on that. I mean, making it to state in any sporting event we know is difficult, and I know just this past week here, I mean, Sun Prairie East softball unfortunately had their season come to an end there in the semifinals, but that was
Still made it
obviously
far.
Congratulations to them too for
Yes.
making as far as they did. They had an incredible season, 25-5. Just came up a little short against Superior, who was a phenomenal team, was undefeated going into that championship. Well, they did lose in the championship to Kakano, who was on a 81-game win streak at
Oh my
softball. I read, which is just crazy.
That's incredible, yeah.
So, but anyway, getting back to talking about state, is there anything else you kind of want to share about the experience you had at state with your team, and maybe just some of your teammates, what they were able to do at state in lacrosse?
Yeah, state is always crazy every year. My freshman year when I went, it downpoured a lot, and so that was an interesting experience. This year, D2 and D3 were before us on Friday, and they had a little bit of a rain delay, which wasn't bad, so we just ended up going down to the stadium a little bit later. We got down there, the 4x8 ran, warmed up for hurdles. I was ready to go. Another rain delay, so then we headed back to the dorms. That rain delay was like 3-4 hours.
Oh,
so
wow.
then they have busy filling the time, and then you have to go back and warm up again. So that was crazy for everybody who had to run. And then was a late night, obviously. The stadium lights went off at 11 p.m. because that's when they shut off. So it took 20 minutes to get them back on. So the meet had another little pause. And the girls' 4x4 is the last event to run, and they ran at 1:30 in the morning. So crazy time.
That is crazy. That is a crazy time for sure. It brings back memories for me. The rain delay, when you're talking about rain, it just brings back memories of that Sun Prairie East Kettle Moraine football game in the fall of this past year, where it was a level 3 playoff game at Kettle Moraine, and it was just downpouring. And our cameras didn't it ended up not working out for us after the start of the game, and there were issues with the Wi-Fi there, and we had issues with our broadcast. It ended up being, I think, just a radio broadcast that we had, and fortunately the television part of it kind of just didn't end up working out with the weather, but it just brings back memories of that Kettle Moraine football game I was at in the fall.
Yeah, weather gets kind of crazy.
It does.
Makes memorable experience.
For sure. And I think you touched a little bit on it, that your Sun Prairie East team for track and field has had team dinners. What are those like? And I guess if there's any specific one maybe you remember that you want to share about, or?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people, so it's hard to get everybody together. So just have like small groups of people and just make their own dinners and hang out as a team. And then our end of the season banquet, we get everybody together, obviously, and coaches provide pizza, and all the other families bring a little something to eat, and then everybody's in the cafeteria together just talking and eating good food, which is always fun.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And how would you summarize or characterize your high school track and field career up to this point?
It's been great. Luckily, my track season wasn't too affected by COVID, so I'm very thankful for that. But a lot of the people in front of me were affected by that. But I've had a great experience and had a lot of fun being in track and field.
No, thank you for sharing. And Audrey, were you able to watch or listen to any of the Sun Prairie softball? I was going to ask you about that. Were you able to kind of watch and maybe listen to some of the Sun Prairie East softball games later in the year, kind of those last couple where they made it to the quarterfinals and then semifinals? And
yeah, I did not go watch, but I'd had like the results on my phone, so I could actively see like where they were and like their stats and see how they were doing.
No, that's great. And I don't know if you know Taylor Baker real well or how well you know her, but she obviously pitched great, especially in the quarterfinal game. I mean, that was a phenomenal performance. She almost had a perfect game. She only gave up one hit. She was one hit away from a perfect game. No walks, 10 strikeouts in 7 innings. I mean, pretty incredible. She was able to do that against the Oshkosh West team, which was rated 3rd in the state, the entire state of Wisconsin. So
yeah,
that's pretty phenomenal.
She's an amazing athlete, and I think is a huge aspect of their team. It's helped them so much.
And Audrey, with Taylor, I mean, and maybe it's helped you too, but something I know with Taylor that I feel like really helps her is you can just tell how joyful she is out there on the mound and how passionate she is about softball. I mean, you can just see it in her facial expressions and just kind of the way she presents herself out there. I mean, you can just tell she's having a blast. Like, she's just having so much fun.
Yeah. I think definitely having so much fun helps your performance. When you love what you do, you're going to perform well and do well.
Because I think that's really what helps Taylor, is that largely. I think that's what makes her so successful on the mound, is just her love and joy and passion coming through. And I'm sure for you it's helped you too. You know, if you're joyful and passionate and love your sport, it's going to make you better, and you're going to be better at the sport by having that type of mindset and attitude towards it.
100%, yeah.
But Audrey, I guess, I think you kind of touched a little bit on colleges and kind of certain ones. I guess you said Wisconsin and Minnesota were a couple you were looking at. Is there any other colleges maybe you've considered or thinking about as well, or?
Possibly lacrosse as well. I have to look more into different places this summer, but those are the top choices right now.
And I went to lacrosse, so I have a little favoritism there. I was a UWL grad myself, so loved going there. It's a beautiful city, as you know. The bluffs and the scenery is just really nice.
Very pretty.
I want to get into a fun question segment. I want to finish that out here with that. What is your favorite movie? This is a tough one. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I'd say this was my favorite one, but favorite Disney movie would be Tangled. Classic for me. Love watching it. Yeah.
I think for me, I have a couple that I was thinking of. I guess like a sports movie that I really like. I really like Moneyball. That's a great movie for sports. And then just like another type of movie that I like, Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. I really like that movie. That's a really good
I've not
film.
seen either of those, so maybe I'll Maybe I'll watch them.
Those are a couple good ones. And have you watched Remember the Titans? Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Yeah, those are maybe 3 that you might have to watch this summer for movies. But well, since I have a sports podcast and show, and I really like music, listening to music as well. What is your favorite genre of music or favorite music artist?
I like listening to a lot of different stuff. Like I listen to a bunch of different playlists. Favorite stuff is probably just stuff from growing up, just because it's nostalgic. But yeah.
Do you have like a favorite song or specifically, or I know it's putting you on the spot.
No, I go through different cycles of different songs that are my favorite.
And I guess, what is your favorite TV show, if you had a favorite TV show? I
don't really watch TV, but yeah, my dad watches a lot of TV, so he always has the stuff on the TV that he wants to watch.
I think for me, favorite TV show, if I had to say, well, it's tough. All American is one I really like. I'm actually watching a show right now on HBO Max, One Tree Hill. It's a 1990s show, mainly about basketball and music and stuff like that. It's been an interesting show to watch. But yeah, I'd say All American is one. Friday Night Lights is another one I really liked.
I've seen that one. I like that one.
Yeah, those are a couple shows that I do really like.
Yeah, that was a good show.
And music, for me, I just kind of like listening to pop music, like I guess bands like Matchbox 20 or Maroon 5 or groups like that. I kind of like that type of music. But then I also like older music like John Mellencamp. I was actually telling Jackson that I was kind of jamming to a John Mellencamp song in the car one day. But those are kind of some of the types of music that I like listening to for music.
Very nice.
But I guess if you have a favorite subject in school, what would it be?
Favorite subject is probably science and math. That's what I want to go into for my major, but those classes I find fun and come relatively easy to me. So.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. Any hobbies or talents you have outside of sports you'd like to share?
I don't know about talents, but I love being outside, so I love to go hiking and take pictures while I'm out there, not with a camera, but just with my phone. They still turn out great. I like to bake. Brownies are my favorite, so I like making those. I don't do this as much anymore, but over quarantine I got into painting, which I found really fun, and obviously love hanging out with my friends and family when I get the chance to do so.
No, that's great about baking. My sister is a big baker, so my sister's actually has had it as a business. She was doing Kimmy's Natural Bakery, so she would make like cookies and scones and muffins.
Yeah, everybody else seems to enjoy that hobby as well. They appreciate it.
So I guess it's a hobby that a lot of people enjoy, including my sister. So.
Yes.
But if you had a favorite food, this is a tough one, what would it be?
I'm going to go with 2 things here. I love eating fruit, pretty much any kind. I also like sushi as more like an actual food.
I really like sushi too. I'd say sushi, pizza. If I had to put a top 3, sushi, pizza, steak. Those would be my top 3.
Okay.
Top 3 for me.
Yeah, I'd go sushi, fruit, and brownies probably.
So yeah, those are my top 3. I guess any last things you want to share before I kind of conclude it all today?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you everyone for joining me this evening. Pleasure to talk with you, Audrey.
Yes, nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you, and really enjoyed the time getting to talk with you about Sun Prairie East Cardinals track and field and just other sports things as well, that you're involved with cross country and gymnastics. I'm happy we got to touch on that. I'm the host of Marc Madness Sports, Mark Karstens, and thanks everyone for listening to my conversation with Sun Prairie East track and field athlete Audrey Seefeld here on Marc Madness Sports on KSUN and 103.5 The Sun Community Radio in Sun Prairie. Have a great night, everyone.